Hi guys, so we are moving ahead with the second set of decision making. Now this is something little important because it kind of comes into the era of the business management. So I'll kind of give you a brief यहाँ पे. So there is this guy, his name is Om Chaudhary, and he has been kind of given a job in one of the department, which is as a supervisor job, by the way, in fire and safety department. And this guy whose like name is Om Chaudhary. So Om Chaudhary is basically a distant cousin of Mr. Bhiwani, right, who's a general manager. And there is this one more character, which has been mentioned here. The name of the character is Mr. Rabindra, who's a shop floor manager. So if you look at the stakeholder, so here we have three stakeholders, right? One is your guy, which is supervisor Chaudhary, then his cousin, this is Mr. Bhavani, and Mr. Rabindra, who's the floor manager. Now, it's a very typical case, or it's a very typical business scenario that happens in the company all the time. And the scenario is that Om Chaudhary and Mr. Bhiwani, they are the cousins, and Bhiwani gives him the job. And Om Chaudhary is actually reporting into Mr. Rabindra, who is the floor manager for the all supervisors. And the case goes like this, that Rabindra was not doing very well. He was given the late night shift. He wasn't doing really well, and it was observed by the the floor manager, by the Rabindra. And then the kind of an ultimatum was given to him that you are not working and all that. And after that, he did not counter Mr. Rabindra, but then he made it a point that he actually started performing really very well. His performance started going up the ladder after the warning, and he was performing brilliantly. Rather, he was more productive and effective. Along with that, he was efficient also. What happened one day was he was on the night shift, and the floor manager, whose name is Rabindra, he saw Mr. Chowdhury playing the solitaire on his computer, I would say, and because of which the ruckus happened, and finally Rabindra fired Om Chaudhary. So that's the brief about your entire case out here, and that's what this decision making set is all about. So we're going to quickly jump on the questions, and we're going to start solving the question. Question number 1. The options below given combinations of possible root cause. Okay, so we've been asked the possible root cause out here of the problem and the justifications thereof. Given the details in the case, which one can be inferred to the best option? There are two important things that you all need to keep in mind. The problem says that what you can infer. So that's number 1. And then they're asking you the best option. Let's go one by one. Hiring of Om, reason that ensured Om was perpetually casual towards his duties. This is bakwas. I mean, like cheap, like bullshit. Om favoring to work during the night shift. Reason, absence of Rabindra ensured that Om could relax. Again, something which is very rubbish. Ravindra's bias against Om. Reason, Rabindra had been assigning too many night shifts to Om, while for other supervisors he was lenient. No, this is nowhere you can get to know from the case actually. And look at option number this A, and look at the B. All these options are pretty much lame, to be very honest. C is not the answer anyway. Rabindra jumped into conclusion. Reason, he should have investigated whether Om had carried out his duties or not. Okay, and E says it led to a clash between Rabindra and Mr. Bhiwani. Okay, so there is nothing called as having a clash between Rabindra and Bhiwani. So, though we understand that Om was a distinct cousin to Mr. Bhiwani, and Mr. Bhiwani was into the higher position. But again, when you talk about the companies, the relationship are never actually taken into consideration. There are professional relationships which are always taken into consideration. So as a student, this is what you need to understand कि यार रिलेशंस वगैरह के बारे में तो यहाँ पे बात नहीं हो सकती है, टू बी वेरी ऑनेस्ट. सो यहाँ पे जो इन्फ्रेंस आ सकता है, या फिर व्हाट यू कैन अंडरस्टैंड हियर, द एंटायर रूट कॉज वुड बी एक्चुअली दो मिस्टर रविंद्र saw Om Chaudhary playing the solitaire, but before sacking him and taking this kind of an extreme decision, in an ideal scenario, in a company, any supervisor, whenever he sees any employee playing or doing time pass, or kind of not working properly, there needs to given a warning. So he should have been given a warning. That's number 1, right? Even before a warning, he had to it was his duty that he should be checking whether Om Chaudhary has done for the day, or he has done all the tasks whichever it was given to him. So yeah, definitely if he has done with all the work, and after that if he is doing something like that, then that's still fine. If he had a problem, right, even if he's done with all his work and still he's playing, and let's say Mr. Ravindra has a problem, he playing the solitaire, he could have given him the additional work and could have kept him busy. But before understanding the groundwork, before understanding why he got himself indulged into the playing of solitaire, just sacking a person does not make any sense. This is called as process breach, right? So there is a way to kind of go ahead, because when you sack an employee, you're actually taking that employee out of the organization. Now trust me, whenever you recruit an employee, recruiting an employee is actually easy. Sacking the employee is really tough. People feel that sacking the employees is very easy, but actually in a real scenario in the corporate world, sacking the employee is actually really, really tough, because you have to do the investigation before you sack him. Investigation about his work. You have to have a proper background before you kind of sack anybody. So you need to actually have all the nuts and bolts in place. The moment you feel that every information is given to you, you are absolutely correct and the employee deserves to be sacked, then only you can move ahead and sack the employee. You cannot directly sack the employee, and that's the reason, because of the process breach. I don't see it was done properly in a proper way. So your answer is going to be D for Delta. Okay, so the next question. So the question says that all this entire whatever thing that has happened, it's a common knowledge to everybody out there now in the company, and the question says that what needs to be done by the top management to kind of solve or resolve this issue, which can help the management organization as a whole. So basically we're looking for the remedy out here. So we'll check one by one. So number one, revoke Rabindra's order. Okay, it can be communicated to the others that firing was too severe a punishment for such a small incident. Now trust me, this cannot be the answer, because you cannot say that the incident was really small. I think that is something to do with the organization and their policies, but as a student, as a kind of a consultant or as a third party, we really cannot define what can be a small incident or what can be not a small incident, right? So that's the reason this is something can be out. Now let's go from the top, bottom to top. Take the feedback of the other F&A supervisors as to the work involved during night shift. This would better explain Om's behavior. It has nothing to do with the behavior of Mr. Om, right? So again, taking the feedback from the other supervisor doesn't make any sense. That's out. Ask feedback from other employees on the shop floor regarding Om's performance. This can be used to revoke Ravindra's order. Again, you cannot revoke Ravindra's order on the basis of the feedback given by the other employees. They can be biased. That's the reason this is out. Declare Ravindra's order as void. Reiterate. Okay, declare Ravindra's order as void. Void, matlab something that cannot be taken into consideration. Ravindra, who's the floor manager, reiterate officially the disciplinary processes that need to be followed by managers along with their scope of authority. Reiterate ka matlab hai basically kind of checking it again, or kind of going back to it again and kind of looking into it. So reiterate officially the disciplinary processes that need to be followed by managers along with their scope of authority. Okay, this is an advice actually. This is a pure advice. This is kind of not in course of action. So I'm going to put this as an advice out here. I'm going to hold on to it because I need to understand the best possible solution out here. Look at B for Bombay. Ask Om for clarification. It can be communicated that since Om had clarified regarding his duties, the order has been taken back. Okay, great. Now this makes a lot of sense that if Om was indulged in playing solitaire, he needs to be asked for a clarification that why he indulged himself into this kind of an activity. And once it was communicated from his side, and if you found him clear, then the order has to be taken back, right? And that's the reason this makes a lot of sense. Now, once this is done, right, then the C can be implemented, because you already had a kind of a incident in the company wherein somebody was sacked for playing solitaire, but again that wasn't really a good thing to do, and that is the reason in the future such things should not take place, and because of which there will be a lot of problem. Hence you need to kind of reiterate all the disciplinary process. It means you have to revisit your disciplinary process and you have to define in which capacity, after in what condition a supervisor can sack the employee. So this is something needs to be done, and that's the reason B for Bombay is a perfect answer out here. Alright, the further question. Out of the options below, which one best summarizes the learning from the solitaire incident? I see. Okay, so they have been asked what summarizes the best. Okay, great. I'll start from bottom and then I'll go to the up. Managers tend to allocate silent people to difficult positions. No, this is absolutely rubbish. This is out. Having relatives in the same organization can be source of potential problems. No, this is absolutely out. Certain roles would have different ways of carrying out their duties. I'm going to hold it as of now. People tend to become relaxed during the night shift and assumption. This is out. Managers often do not take any responsibility towards training juniors. Responsibility towards training junior. It has nothing to do with the training. It has something to do with the behavior or the activity undertaken by OM. So do you have none of the above? Do you have CBD? Do you have any other option? No. Your answer is going to be C for Charlie. Though I personally believe this is not the best answer. But yeah, this is the best possible solution that you have because none of the other options are good enough to be marked as the correct one. And that's the reason the answer is going to be C for Charlie. Okay, let's move to the another question. Of the options below, which could have been a better response from Mr. Rabindra when he saw Om plane? Okay, that's a wonderful question. Okay, he should have clarified about his authority to fire employees. No, that's the extreme one. This will come later on. Found if Om was found guilty and something like that. He should have informed Mr. Bhiwani. Not needed. He is not supposed to inform Mr. Bhiwani because he's a supervisor, He should not be kind of going to his senior before doing the groundwork, right? And Bhiwani is not supposed to take any action because Om Chowdhury does not report to Bhiwani, to be very honest, because he was reporting to Rabindra. So again, this is out. He should have asked the employees of the shift regarding Om's performance of his duties. Like it doesn't make any sense, right? He should have checked if Om had done his duties or not. This is a great example. Rather, this is the good option as of now. He should have checked the production levels in the shift to see if it was required, not necessary. You cannot. Playing solitaire and production level, it has nothing to do with each other. So D for Delta is going to be the easy answer. So guys, if you look at whatever decision making that we have done as of now, the questions are not really tough. They are like pretty much based on the logical understanding of any candidate. You just have to perform, you just have to behave as if you're in the company environment, and you got to be sober, you got to be ethical, and you need to understand that you're not going to take the biased decision, or you will always be following those rules which I have already explained in the part 1 on the first slide. So these rules are going to be really important. You just have to be a good person. You just need to understand what can benefit my organization, or you just need to understand what is the best thing that can be done to solve a problem. And I think if you think from that perspective, you should be having 100% accuracy on the decision making. So as of now, that's it from my side. We will be kind of venturing into the next set now.